Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Infinity Learn by Sri Chaitanya Institutions. So today, as a part of CBSE board examinations, social science exam has been completed. So now, what we are going to do is, we are going to see the analysis of the question paper that has come up in the board examination with the help of the question paper available for us. So in this particular analysis, we are going to see the weightage. Yes, chapter wise we are going to see the weightage. At the same time, we will see the key and we will try to analyze the question paper, how the questions have been changing from the CBSE board in the 10th class examination. So let's see one by one. We will go by from question to question. Let's see the first one. So I guess each and everybody knows about this question paper pattern. Yes, we are going to have 20 MCQs. Then we are having 4 very short answer questions. Then we are having 5 short answer questions carrying 3 marks each. Then we are having the long answer. Next we have case or the source based questions, and finally the map pointing. So let's see the question. So my dear students and respective viewers, we are going to start the key and the analysis of the CBSE social science question paper. The exam has been completed just today, an hour back, and we are going to see the key and analysis. Let's see the first question. Which one of the following regions became a part of unified Italy in 1866? Anybody? Which one of the following regions became a part of the unified Italy in 1866? If you see the 4 options, we have Sardinia, Piedmont, Venetia, Sicily and the Papal States. So if you see the chapter, the rise of the nationalism in Europe, there in the unification of Italy, under the side heading Italy Unified, we have 2 maps. In that one map, 14B, was given each and every region in which year it has been unified with the main region. So according to that, yes, we are going with Venetia. So Venetia, as you can see, so it is the correct option for the first question. So Sardinia, Piedmont, it is the state or it is the region which led the unification. Then we have Sicily and the Papal States, which combined with the main region in the years 1860 and then 1870 respectively. So that's the reason why for the question number 1, option B stands to be true. Okay, nice, very nice. Yes, option B. Let's see the next one. The next question. The second one. Read the following reasons of migration of people from Europe to America till the 19th century and choose the correct option. So this is actually the question from history chapter 3, that is the making of global world. And if you see the statements that are given, poverty and hunger, slaves for sale, widespread of diseases, then religious conflicts and persecution. So here, if you see the options, only 1, 2 and 3 are correct. Then option B, only 2, 3 and 4 are correct. Then option C, 1, 3 and 4 are correct. And D, only 1, 2 and 4 are correct. So as per the content that we have in the textbook, yes, absolutely, option C is the correct one. So according to this, if you see, poverty and hunger, then we have widespread of the diseases, religious conflicts and the persecution are the major reasons for the migration of the people from Europe to America till the 19th century. So question number 2, the correct answer is option C. Option C. Okay. So let's see the next question. Question number 3. Let's see the third question. The author of Book of Marvels is? So my dear students and respective viewers, okay, we'll go slowly. The author of Book of Marvels. So this is again the question from chapter number 3, the making of a global world, where you have a picture. Under that picture, the author of the Book of Marvels is actually mentioned. A bit of tricky question, that a sort of the tricky question that we can think of, but yes, the answer stands to be Marco Polo. So just below the picture in the chapter number 3, making of a global world, the answer is clearly written. It is the Book of Marvels written by Marco Polo. So A is the correct answer. This is again from chapter 3. Okay. Next one. Let's see the question number 4. Assume you are doing research on 15th century print culture. Which of the following would be the most significant advantage for your research? So if you see the question, assume you are doing research on 15th century print culture. Which of the following would be the most significant advantage for your research? So the question is actually from the print culture. Yes, the question is actually analytical in nature, because if you see the options, the first one, easier access to the rare manuscripts. Then option B, reduced need for the libraries. Option C, increase in the ability to copy text by hand. And option D, increased speed and accuracy of the print. So among these 4 options, which one is the correct answer? So if you see, for this particular question, we must remember that the year in which John Gutenberg perfected the printing press. So with the help of the printing press, yes, there is an increased speed and accuracy of the print. So that is actually started with the print revolution. So that's the reason why option D stands to be the correct option for the question number 4. So if you are doing a research in the 15th century print culture, out of all the mentioned, increased speed and accuracy of the print is the most significant advantage of the research. Fine. So for the 4th question, the correct option stands to be D, option D. Okay. We'll see the next question. Question number 5. Arrange the following categories of forests in India from the largest to the smallest in terms of area and choose the correct option. So this is the question from Geography chapter number 2, Forest and the Wildlife Resources. In that, all the 3 categories of the forests are given. The first one, reserved forest, then protected forest, then unclassed forests. So out of these 3, what the students have to do is that, based on the area for each and every category, they need to find out the correct order. So if you see the area, in the textbook it is clearly mentioned that more than half of the total forest area was considered as the reserved forest. Then we have the protected forest. Out of the remaining, 1/3 of the total forest area has been considered as the protected forest. And the remaining forest we are having unclassed forest. So that's the reason why if you see, if we choose them in the correct order, first we are having the reserved, then we have the protected, and then we have the unclassed forest. So option B stands to be true. Fine. From the largest to the smallest. So there the students need to be very, very careful. The question is asking about what? From the largest to the smallest. If you see the option, we have another option, option A, where we can rearrange these different kinds of the forests from smallest to the largest also. But the catch is that, yes, we need to find out from the largest to the smallest. So that's the reason why option B stands to be true for the question number 5. Yes? Let's see the question number 6. Question number 6. Sariska Tiger Reserve is located in which one of the following states? It's a very easy question. Sariska Tiger Reserve, if you see the options, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Uttar Pradesh and Maharashtra. So for this, undoubtedly the option is Rajasthan. So in Rajasthan we have the Sariska Tiger Reserve. So sixth one, the correct option is option B, Sariska Tiger Reserve. Let's see the question number 7. Question number 7, we have a matching. Match column 1 with column 2 and choose the correct option. For example, if you see the column 1, the names of the dams are given, and then in the column 2, the rivers are given. So based on the dams and the rivers, we have to find out, yes, the correct option. So Hirakud, each and everybody knows, Hirakud is nothing but, it is located on the dam, the Mahanadi. Then we are having the Gandhi Sagar. So Gandhi Sagar is located on river Chambal. So Gandhi Sagar is on Chambal. We have the Rana Pratap Sagar, that is also located on Chambal. Then we have the Nagarjuna Sagar, which is located on the river Krishna. Then we have the Mettur Dam, which is located on the river Kaveri. So if you see this, the correct option will be C, A4, B1, C2 and D3. So option C stands to be true for the question number 7. Just a simple matching based on the dams and the rivers from water resources. Next one, question number 8. If you see the question number 8, choose the correct option regarding major states involved in the Krishna Godavari issue. So in the water resources, after the mentioning of the Atal Bhujal Yojana, Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana in the textbook, there is one yellow box mentioned in the textbook about the Krishna and Godavari dispute. So the thing is that in the Krishna and Godavari dispute, which states are involved? So that is the answer need to find out. So option A, Karnataka, Kerala and Tamil Nadu. Then we have Maharashtra, Karnataka and Andhra Pradesh as option B. Then we have option C, Gujarat, Maharashtra and Madhya Pradesh. Then we have option D, Jharkhand, Andhra Pradesh and Odisha. So for this, the correct answer is option B, Maharashtra, Karnataka and Andhra Pradesh. So these three are the states that are involved in the Krishna Godavari issue. Okay, option B. These again from water resources. Next one, 9th one. Imagine you are traveling from Delhi to Chandigarh to attend a wedding by road in January. So it is given the month January. Which of the following crops will you notice prominently in the fields during the journey? So the month is given January, so obviously you can understand what is the cropping season that was actually going on. So January means it's a Rabi season, and the location is given clearly Delhi to Chandigarh. So in the northern regions from Delhi to Chandigarh, no, that region Rabi season, what is the crop that we normally find out? So if you see the options, paddy, maize, wheat and jowar. So in the Rabi season, if you see in the northern India, we have the major crop is wheat. So wheat, it is highly suitable as a Rabi crop because of the bright sunshine that is available, and at the same time because of the western disturbances, there is a rainfall available in the northern regions. So that's the reason option C is the correct answer for the question number 9. It is from chapter number 4, agriculture. So based on the conditions, we need to find out the correct crop. Then yes, question number 10. Question number 10. Two statements are given below. They are assertion and reason. Read both the statements carefully and choose the correct option. So these assertion and reason questions are always there at high debate. You know, the assertion, if you see here, minerals are an indispensable part of our lives. and the reason given, all living things needs minerals. So normally whenever we are solving the assertion and reason questions, we normally look at the accuracy of the statements, whether the given statements are correct or not, true or false. For example, if you see these statements, both the assertion and the reason, assertion is true and the reason is also true. Assertion is true and the reason is also true. So let's see how we decide whether the reason is the correct explanation of the assertion or not. For example, if you see, whenever both the statements stands to be true, option C and D are ruled out. So let's see between A and B. The reason given here, all the living things needs minerals. Yes, so because of this reason, we have the minerals becoming an indispensable part of our lives. So each and every living being needs the minerals. So that's the reason why minerals are becoming an indispensable part of our lives. So that's the reason we can go with answer A or option A. So option A is the correct answer for the question number 10. Both A and R are true and the reason is the correct explanation to the assertion. Option A. Next one, question number 11. Again we have the matching. So this is the matching we are getting from minerals and energy resources, chapter number 5. Match the column 1 with column 2 and choose the correct option. So in the column 1, the minerals names are given, and in the column 2, major mines are given. So we need to find out which mineral is with related to the major mine. We have the iron ore, mica, bauxite and coal, and on the other side we are having Gaya, Singrauli, Chandrapur and Maikala. So if you see this question, iron ore is actually related to Chandrapur. So we have a belt, iron ore belt there. So iron ore is actually related to Chandrapur. Then we have mica. Mica is actually related to Gaya. So we have a Gaya Hazaribagh belt of mica. Then we have the bauxite and coal. So out of this you can easily find out coal is nothing but Singrauli. Then we have the bauxite mining region in Maikala. So for the question number 11, if you see, A3, B1 and C4 and then D2. So option A stands to be true for this matching question. So identifying Chandrapur mine for the iron ore is a bit tricky one. So if you are able to find out, or if you are able to match iron ore for the Chandrapur, obviously you can easily find out the remaining things. Okay. Next, question number 12. Question number 12. Belgium solved its problem of majoritarianism by strengthening which of the following types of the government? So there are given the types of the government, and the question is asking which type of the government by solving the Belgium was able to solve its problem of majoritarianism. 4 types of the governments are given: unitary, presidential, federal and parliamentary. So it is absolutely federal government. So federal government is nothing but, yes, where we are having the power is shared between different levels of the government. So such a kind of government is normally called as federal government, and we have 4 to 5 points out of by which the power sharing arrangement in Belgium was clearly given between the central and the state, and finally the community government. So that's the reason option C is the correct answer for the question number 12. It is federal government. Next one, question number 13. Choose the correctly matched pair from the following: Canada, unitary, so the country and the system. So which one is correctly matched? It means the 3 are incorrectly matched. Canada, unitary, Bolivia, federal, Australia, unitary and the Spain, federal. So out of these 4, which one is correctly matched? That we need to find out. So if you see the Canada, it is not unitary, it is actually a federal country. Then we have Bolivia, which is given as federal, but in fact it is an unitary government. Then we have Australia, which is given as unitary, but in fact it is federal. So then the last option, Spain, which is the federal government, and that is the correctly matched pair for the question number 13. So for the question number 13, option D stands to be true. So in the federalism chapter, DP chapter number 2, we have the types of federations, coming together and the holding together. So in the holding together type of federations, you have an example of India and Spain. So there comes the answer, option D. Okay. Next one. Question number 14. Which of the following are the main components of a political party? So we need to find out the components of the political party. The first one, leaders, 2 active members, 3 followers, and the 4 pressure groups. And the options, if you see, only 1, 2, 3 are correct, only 2, 3 and 4 are correct, only 1, 3 and 4 are correct, and the final one, only 1, 2 and 4 are correct. As we know very well from the chapter political parties, we have the leaders, active members, and the followers. These 3 are the main components of the political party, but not the pressure groups. So in the concept of the power sharing, we normally discuss about the pressure groups, which normally do not participate in the government, but from the external side they affect the policy decision making. But they do not become the part and parcel of the components of the political party. So that's the reason 1, 2 and 3 are the components of the political party. So if you see the option, we have 14th one, A is the correct option for the question number 14. Fine. So for the question number 14, option A is the answer. Next one. Question number 15. Study the following table related to World Human Development Index and answer the questions given below. The countries are given and their respective HDI ranks are given. So Human Development Index ranks are given, even though the ranks are old, but yes, we are going to take the same data. For India, it is given 130, Myanmar 148, then Nepal 149 and Pakistan 150. Amongst the given countries, which one of the following countries has the highest rank in the Human Development Index? So we need to find out what? The highest rank in the Human Development Index. So normally whenever we see highest, we tend to choose the highest rank given for which country. For example, if you see out of these 4 countries that are mentioned, if I say highest number wise, normally we choose what? Pakistan, because the number is biggest. Out of 130, 148, 149 and 150, yes, Pakistan is having the biggest number and we can say it is highest also. But as per the Human Development Index, we need to understand that if the rank is highest, the living conditions or the lifestyle of the people is better in that particular country. So in such manner, if you think, the highest rank out of the countries that are mentioned here is actually India. So highest rank does not mean the numerical value. Highest rank means the lifestyle of the people. With respect to the lifestyle of the people, in which country there are the better living conditions. So based on that we have to choose. It's not about the numerical value, but it's about the living style and the living conditions in that particular area. So based on that, yes, India is having a highest HDI rank according to the data that is given in the question paper. So for the question number 15, option B stands to be true. Next one, question number 16. X lives in a town and he cultivates flowers along with the animal husbandry. The work of X will fall under which sector of the economy? So normally whenever we see flowers, yes, we think of the floriculture or the horticulture, some kind of the service some of the students can think of. But here whenever we see the cultivation of the flowers along with the animal husbandry, so these two are the catching words, cultivation and animal husbandry. So whenever we see this cultivation and animal husbandry, yes, we have to choose only the primary sector, agriculture and other allied activities. And other allied activities, each and everything, no, cultivation of the flowers and the animal husbandry, each and everything will come up in that. So agriculture and the other allied activities normally comes under the primary sector. So the option A will be true for the question number 16. Yes. Next, Question number 17. Look at the picture and answer the question that follow. So a picture is given. The work being done in the picture falls under which sector of the economy? So this is actually the question from sectors of the Indian economy, where we are having the primary, secondary and the tertiary sectors, and their detailed explanation is given. Now if you see this picture, we have a picture in the textbook where one woman is selling the clothes to the other in the textbook. So normally whenever we see that picture, we think of that, yes, it is a sales activity going on, and that picture is actually related to the tertiary sector. But if you see the picture given here, we have the women standing in 2 rows on either side of the benches, and they are doing some activity, production activity. And it is actually related to the manufacturing. So because of this reason, as the activity that the women were performing here in this picture was actually related to the manufacturing, we go with what? The secondary sector. It's not the tertiary sector. Original image which is there in the textbook, yes, it is tertiary, but here the image which is given in the question paper, it is actually related to the secondary sector, as the women are involved in the production of the textile. So just like you can imagine, like assembly line. 2 rows of the women are standing and they are producing the textiles in multiple numbers. So for the question number 17, option C stands to be true. Next, for the visually impaired candidates, we have one more question. In an alternative to the question number 17, the work of which of the following comes in the secondary sector of the economy? So there are some activities are given, and out of this we need to find out which activity comes under secondary sector. We have the beekeeper, money lender, basket weaver and the fisherman. And if you see for this, the basket weaver was actually comes under the secondary sector. So for this question number 17, for the visually impaired candidates, option C stands to be true. Next, the main question, question number 18. After 17 we have the main question 18. Why does it become difficult for the farmers in rural areas to take loans from the government banks? Read the following reasons and choose the most appropriate option. So all these are the reasons, and out of the 4 reasons we have to find out the most appropriate reason. The first one, lack of the collateral. Then we have complicated procedure. Then third one, higher cost of the borrowing. And the fourth one, lack of awareness. So if you see out of these 4, lack of collateral is the major problem that the farmers face in order to avail the credit from the government banks. Then we have the complicated procedure. Yes, the documentation is very, very high. And the higher cost of borrowing, which is a false one in the government banks, especially for the farmers, the rate of interest is less. So it's not the higher cost of borrowing. And then the lack of awareness. Yes, lack of awareness is there. It means what? The farmers do not have the enough amount of information about the credit facilities available to them from the government banks. So that's the reason why. We can choose 1, 2 and 4. So if you see the option, yes, we have option C as the correct one. 1, 2 and 4 are correct. Lack of collateral, complicated procedure, then we have lack of awareness. So for the 18th one, option C is the correct one. Then the 19, which of the following groups in urban India depend on informal sources to meet their credit needs? So this is actually from the money and credit, chapter number 3 from economy, where there are some pie charts are given, especially with the with respect to the urban India, with respect to the households living in the urban India, from where they are getting the credit, either the formal or the informal sources. So out of the categories that are mentioned here, if you see the options, A, poor households, then we have B, households with few assets, then C, both poor households and households with few assets, then we have D, both well-off households and households with few assets. So as per the percentages that are mentioned in the textbook, we can go with the option A, poor households. 54% of the poor households are actually dependent upon the informal sources to meet their credit needs. So it is the answer given based on the percentage of the households which are depending upon the informal sources of the credit in order to meet their needs. So we can go with answer A, 19th one. Next, the last one, last one in the line of MCQs. We have the last one as a statement based question, even though it is A and R. Yes, we can have the same kind of the A and R questions even in the statement type. Two statements 1 and 2 are given below. Read both the statements and carefully and choose the correct option. Statement 1, rapid improvement in technology has been one major factor to stimulate the globalization process. Statement 2, this has made much faster delivery of goods across long distances possible at lower costs. So for example, whenever we are solving these kind of questions, we see the accuracy of the statements, whether the given statements are true or false. The first one, if you see, rapid improvement in technology has been one major factor to stimulate the globalization process. Yes, it is true. It is true. Then statement 2, this has made much faster delivery of goods across long distances possible at lower costs. This is also true. Now we need to find out whether the statement 2 is correctly explaining the statement 1 or not. So whenever we made both the statements are true, we rule out option C and D. If you see the statement 1, rapid improvement in technology, they did not mention what kind of technology. It is basically talking about rapid improvement in technology, and that kind of technology has been possible both in information and communication and at the same time transportation technology also. So now if you see the second statement, this has made much faster delivery of goods across long distances possible at the lower costs. So here they are talking about the transportation technology. For example, in the textbook we are having the mention about the containers which are used for the transportation purpose. So based on that, we can take both the statements 1 and 2 are correct, and statement 2 is the correct explanation of the statement 1. Yes, for the question number 20, we can go with option A. Option A is the correct one. Next one. So with this, with the 20 questions, we are done with the MCQs, and now we are going to enter the 2 markers question number 21. So this question number 21 is actually came from Nationalism in India, history chapter number 2, from chapter number 2 in history, and we have an internal choice. For example, if you see the 21A question, explain the role of anti-colonial movement in the rise of the modern nationalism in India. It means how modern nationalism in India got developed in their fight against the colonialism or the Britishers. So we have to write the points which are related to how the modern nationalism got raised or developed in India in their fight against the British. So based on that, we need to write. And the next one, why did Gandhiji say Satyagraha is pure soul force? Explained by giving 2 arguments. So we have a big illustration about the Satyagraha concept in the textbook as an additional information. What do you mean by Satyagraha? Why he said Satyagraha is a pure soul force. So with respect to the, we guess, between these 2 questions, if you see the difficulty levels, yes, 21B is much easier to write for the students. So easily they can make 2 arguments. What do you mean by Satyagraha, and why it is the pure soul force? Because with the help of Satyagraha, Gandhiji wanted to show what? The cruelty of the Britishers to the whole world. Yes, he wanted to show. We are not going to fight with the violence against the Britishers, but with our calmness, with the help of the truth, with the help of the non-violence, we are going to show to the whole world how cruel the Britishers were. So that is the concept in the Satyagraha. So between these 2 in the internal choice, we guess the most of the students can choose question B, 21B. Next one, question number 22, explain any two problems of global ecology arising due to indiscriminate use of the resources. So whenever we see this question, we normally think that this question is actually from forest and wildlife resources, which is chapter number 2 in geography. But this question, without having this particular words global ecology, this question is coming from chapter number 1 resources and development from geography. So because of the indiscriminate use of the resources, what are the problems that can come up? So that points we need to write. For example, whenever the resources are being concentrated in the few hands, it is going to create a social gap between the haves and the have-nots. And whenever there is higher amount of exploitation of the natural resources, it can lead to the natural calamities. So like this, any two statements we can write, or any two problems related to the indiscriminate use of the resources we can write. Next one. Question number 23. Suggest any two measures to remove the gender inequality. So in order to remove the gender inequality is nothing but the differences between the male and the female, how we our society is actually looking at both male and the female. So in order to remove that gender inequality, what are the measures that we need to take off? For example, the very generalized question where you can write giving some awareness with the help of the education, promoting the education among the female children, or with the help of some legislative measures by making some acts from the government. So like this, any generalized measures we can write for the question. Suggest any two measures for the remove gender inequality, or properly applying in the salaries or the money that is giving for the same work. We have the Equal Remuneration Act, equal pay for the equal work for both male and the female. But in reality, yes, we need to implement that very accurately. So such kind of the measures we can write for the question number 23. Next one. Question number 24. How did the process of liberalization initiated in India in the 1990s promote globalization? Explain. So we need to write about how the liberalization was happened in the years in India 1990s. And first we may write the actual meaning of the liberalization. Whenever the trade barriers are being removed, it is the process called as the liberalization. And how it was happened? By removing the trade barriers. Before the 1990s, India was a closed economy, and in the year 1990s, or specifically from 1991, yes, we have the reforms came into picture: liberalization, privatization and globalization. And with the help of that liberalization, yes, we opened up our economy, where our domestic producers are allowed to compete with the world producers, where our producers have started better their products, the quality of the products got increased. So such kind of the points we can write. So after the liberalization, yes, our economy got mingled or mixed with the world economy in a better manner. So that points we need to write for the question number 24. Next. 25. So we are moving on to the 3 markers. So we have done with the 2 markers. Yes. 25th one. Tribal peasants interpreted the message of Mahatma Gandhi and the idea of Swaraj in yet another way. Explain the statement in the context of the non-cooperation movement. For example, if you see the non-cooperation movement, it is actually given how the non-cooperation movement was happened in various regions in the textbook. If you see, we are having the non-cooperation movement, how it was happened in the towns, how it was happened in the cities, how it was happened in the villages, then with respect to the tribals, and then with respect to the plantation workers. So for each and every kind of the region, we have the spread of the non-cooperation movement and how it was actually happened. So now the question is specifically talking about how the tribal peasants actually interpreted the message of the Mahatma Gandhi. So they actually believed that Gandhi Raj is going to come and they can get their lands, they can have their lands in the Gandhi Raj. So those are the points that we need to mention with the for the question number 25. So for the tribals, the message of the Swaraj was interpreted in a different manner. Next, question number 26. Read the story of Rinja and answer the question that follows. Story of Rinja. Rinja lived with her family in a small village at the outskirts of Dipu in Assam. She enjoys watching her family members clearing, slashing and burning a patch of land for cultivation. She often helps them in irrigating the fields with water running through a bamboo canal from the nearby spring. She loves the surroundings and wants to stay here as long as she can, but this little girl has no idea about the declining fertility of the soil, and her family search for a fresh patch of land in the next season. And the question that follows is, what type of the farming is Rinja's family doing? Describe any two of its characteristics. So based on the information that is given, yes, whenever you see clearing, slashing and burning a patch of land for the cultivation, we can easily think of that they are talking about slash and burn type of the cultivation, or otherwise in North India it is also called as jhum cultivation. So that kind of the cultivation where we are going to clear the patch of the land and we are going to burn all the trees that we have cut there, and we are going to spread out the ashes in that particular region, which may be acted as the fertilizers. And for some years, yes, we are going to do the cultivation in that particular place, and once the land is losing its fertility, yes, again another patch of the land is going to be cleared. So for this question, what type of the farming is Rinja's family is doing? For that we can write slash and burn agriculture. So for 1 marker, the type of the agriculture, if you are able to identify, you will get 1 mark. And then we need to write any two of its characteristics. So what are the normal things that we use, whether we use high machinery or the low machinery, whether we use the pesticides, fertilizers, whether high amount of the labor is involved or not. Like that, if you write the characteristics, you may get 2 marks. So normally very primary tools are used in this slash and burn agriculture. Only family labor is involved in that. No pesticides or the fertilizers or the pesticides are normally used in the jhum cultivation. No big supplements. Just with the natural fertility and with the family labor and the primary tools, this slash and burn agriculture is normally practiced. So question number 26 from agriculture, chapter number 4. Next one, question number 27. That democratic system of government is considered good in which maximum number of the citizens are made stakeholders in political power. Explain the statement with suitable arguments. Whenever we see this question, 2 chapters will come into our mind. The first one, power sharing, and the second one, outcomes of democracy. And the best that you can choose is the power sharing. The reason is that the statement is saying that a democratic system of government is considered good in which maximum number of the citizens are made stakeholders. So the citizens are becoming the stakeholders. Stakeholders are nothing but the partners. It means whenever the citizens are becoming the part and parcel of the decision making, based on that the question is being asked. So the democratic system of government is considered good in which maximum number of the citizens, as many as possible number of the citizens, are becoming a part and parcel of the decision making process. So for this you can write the moral reason of the power sharing. So why power sharing is desirable? We have a subtopic in the chapter called power sharing. In that, why power sharing is desirable, we have 2 reasons. The first one is the prudential reason and the second one is the moral reason. Under the prudential reason, we normally say the power sharing is desirable because it helps to reduce the conflicts. That is the prudential reason, which is the factual reason or pragmatic reason, the practical reason. Then we have the moral reason. It is to say that democracy involves the sharing of the power between the people, because of which are the people who are going to be affected because of the power sharing. So the governments need to exercise the sharing of the power with those who are affected by the process of the decision making, and those are nothing but the common people, because the common people are the ones who are going to be affected because of the power. So now in the decision making process, if you are able to make the citizens as a part and parcel, it will be good for the democratic systems or the democratic governments. So we can write what? The moral reasons for the decision making process. Next one, 28, where we are having the internal choice. 28A, explain the importance of the political parties in democracy. Then 28B, why did India adopt the multi-party system? Explain with suitable arguments. If you see the first one, explain the importance of the political parties in a democracy. So in a democratic country, why do we need the political parties? So we normally explain this particular question beautifully by explaining in a democracy we have a lot of diversity. So in democracy, as we are having the diversity, we can have the political divisions. We cannot say all the social divisions are leads to political divisions, but yes, because of the diversity that we are having in India, because of the language, creed, culture, gender, no, because of all these reasons, we can have the divisions in the society. And we must have some or the other organizations which are going to raise the demands of these particular communities. And in democracies, these organizations are nothing but the political parties. They shape the opinion, they shape, or we can say they raise the demands faced by the different communities. So for this particular question, we can write, or the students need to write what? The necessity of the political parties in the democracy. And especially wherever we are having the representative kind of the democracies. So democracy we can have in two kinds, direct and indirect. So direct democracy is nothing but where the common people or the actual people are becoming the part and parcel of the decision making. And we have the indirect democracies where the common people are electing their representatives, and these representatives are going to frame the laws for the welfare of the people or on behalf of the people. So in such a kind of democracy, why do we need the political parties? So all those points we can beautifully write for the 28A. Then we have 28B, why India adopt the multi-party system? Explain with suitable arguments. So whenever we talk about the number of the political parties in a country, it is not fixed. We have the one-party system, we have the two-party system, and then we have the multi-party system. So normally whenever we talk about one-party system, we talk about China. For the two-party system, we refer the USA and the UK. Then for the multi-party system, we refer India. India is the best example for having the multi-party system because of the diversity again. We have various social contexts or the cultural context, because of which we have numerous number of the communities existing peacefully in India. So because of this reason, we must have the organizations which represents various communities, and not all the communities are from the same background. Their backgrounds are different, their historical context in their alignment to Indian society is different. So that's the reason why India adopted what? The multi-party system for various geographical, social and economical reasons. So that's how we can answer question number 28B. Next one, explain the difference between the public and the private sector of the Indian economy with example. So for the 3 markers, we can easily write how we can differentiate between the public and the private sector. We can draw a beautiful table where the public sector is nothing but whenever the ultimate authority, so based on the ownership normally, we can divide the sectors into private and the public. So in the sectors of Indian economy, based on the economic activities, based on the terms of employment and based on the ownership, 3 kinds of the categories are given. And the question is asking about based on the ownership, we have the public and the private sector, where the ownership is under the government and where the ownership is maintained by the private sector, public and the private. And with an example, we can beautifully illustrate the question. It's an easy question from sectors of the Indian economy. So that's all about all the 3 markers. Then we are moving on to the 5 markers. The first one, 30th one A, analyze the significance of the Napoleonic Code in making the administrative system rational and efficient. So if you see this question, it is not only talking about the Napoleonic Code, it is actually talking about what? Analyze the significance. What is the significance or what is the importance of the Napoleonic Code in making the administrative system rational and efficient. So along with the important measures taken in the Napoleonic Code, we have to write its important, how it was actually made the region united. For example, if you see in the Vienna Congress 1850, some German confederation of the 39 states were left untouched. So like this, whatever the administrative convenience, the arrangements that were made by the Napoleonic Code or by the Napoleon were actually helped to strengthen the unity. So that kind of the points and its importance we need to write. Then the next one, how was liberalism allied to national unity in Europe in the early decades of the 19th century? Analyze. So we have the concept of the liberalism. So liber is nothing but freedom. So this concept of the liberalism we can explain in the context with respect to the parliament, having a parliament, and that parliament or the assembly got elected by the common people. So we can have the representatives and the people have the right to vote. So this kind of things we can write under the liberalism. And there is one more scope or one more angle with respect to the liberalism where we can write with the help of the in the economic sphere. For example, we have a concept called Zollverein. So this Zollverein, yes, the concept of the Zollverein got explained, where this concept of Zollverein is explained in order to inculcate the nationalism in the minds of the people, especially in Prussia region. With the help of the Prussia or with the initiative from Prussia, the concept of the Zollverein got started. So this liberalism we can write both politically, socially and economically. So in all the three spheres we can beautifully explain the concept of the liberalism. And with respect to the right to vote for the women, also one or two points can be mentioned. So that's about question number 30. Next one, question number 31. Manufacturing industries are considered the backbone of the economic development of a country. Justify the statement. Next, 31B. Agriculture and industries complement each other. Justify the statement. So these two are the repeated questions, that's what we can say, from the manufacturing industries. The first question is actually talking about how manufacturing sector is considered as the backbone of the economic development, why it is very, very important for the economic development of a country. So at the very starting of the chapter in the manufacturing industries, we have some 4 to 5 points which are telling about the importance of the manufacturing industries. Manufacturing industries are actually needed for us in order to create more number of the employment, or in order to eradicate unemployment from the country, we require the manufacturing industries, and in order to eradicate the poverty. And the strength of the economy of a country is actually measured based on the manufacturing industries that we are having in the country. So like this, we are having beautiful points with respect to the why we consider manufacturing industries as the backbone of the economic development of a country. Then agriculture and industry complement each other. Justify the statement. Now in the previous years this question, the same question came as agriculture and industries are not exclusive of each other, are inclusive to each other. It does mean that both agriculture and industries are going to support each other, that's what the meaning. So for this question we need to write how agriculture and industries are going to complement with each other. For example, if you see the industries, the rise of the industries or the manufacturing sector, the machinery that is being produced in the industries, we can use the same machinery for the agriculture purpose, and with the help of that machinery we can increase the production in the agriculture. So where the value of the production coming out from the agriculture sector can be increased. Yes, so like that we can write agriculture and industries complement each other, they support each other. So with the most easiest questions we can say, with beautiful subheadings we can write the answers. Yes. Next one, question number 32. Explain any 5 bases for assessing the outcomes of democracy. Then explain any 5 values of democracy. for this particular questions, the coming from outcomes of the democracy, where we can write what are the 5 bases or what are the 5 areas on which we can assess the outcomes of the democracy. We have no accountable, responsible, and the legitimate government, reducing the income inequalities, economic growth and economic development, dignity and the freedom of the citizens, and then finally we are having accommodation of the social diversities. So on these aspects we can easily write how we can normally assess the democratic functioning or the democratical countries functioning. And then we have explained any 5 values of the democracy: accountable, responsive, legitimate, transparency, corruption, all these values we can write for the 32B. The 5 values of the democracy and 5 bases for assessing the outcomes of the democracy. A straight question from outcomes of the democracy. Next one. Question number 33, the last one in the 5 markers. Recent evidence suggests that overuse of the groundwater is becoming a serious threat in many parts of the country. Evaluate the statement in the context of the sustainability of the development. So this is a direct question from the development chapter from economy. So according to the recent evidences, it suggests that overuse of the groundwater is becoming a serious threat in many parts of the country. So overuse of the groundwater. At the very ending of the chapter, we were having 2 examples: overusing of the groundwater and the dwindling crude oil reserves in the whole world. So about the groundwater they are asking. So now evaluate the statement in the context of the sustainability of the development. So here we need to understand sustainability of development. We have 2 concepts here. One is sustainable development and the other one is sustainability of the development. Normally whenever we talk about sustainable development, we refer to the process where we are not going to compromise the needs of the present generation. At the same time, we are going to reserve the resources for the future generations. That is the concept of sustainable development. Sustainability of the development means what? Consistent growth or the consistent development, which normally refers to the sustainability of the development. So that's what we need to write for the question 33A. Then question B. The development goals of different categories of people may differ. Evaluate the statement. So we can write this question with the help of by taking some examples. For example, for a poor farmer, what can be a developmental goal? And for a rich household, what can be a developmental goal? So like this we can take 5 persons. In the development chapter, at the very starting of the chapter, we are having a table, the table which we need to complete. There we have the poor farmer, landless labor, a rich household, a big businessman, a girl coming from the rich household. Like this, we can take 5 different categories of the people and we can write their developmental goals. How various people are having various developmental goals. And even we are having the developmental goals of different communities which are contrasting with each other or which are conflictual in nature. For example, if you see the developmental goals of the businessmen and the tribal people, their goals are actually conflictual in nature. So like that we can quote the examples for the question 33B. So like this we had the 5 marker questions. So we are done with the 5 markers and then we are moving to the source based questions or the case based questions. The first one among that, question number 34, read the given source and answer the questions that follow. The first, if you see the source that is given, it is giving the heading print and censorship. So it is actually coming from the print culture chapter, history, chapter number 5. The power of the printed word is most often seen in the way governments seek to regulate and suppress the print. The colonial government kept continuous track of all books and newspapers published in India and passed numerous laws to control the press. During the First World War, under the Defence of India rules, 22 newspapers had to furnish the securities. Of these, 18 shut down rather than comply with the government orders. The Sedition Committee report under the Rowlatt Act in 1919 further strengthened the controls that led to imposition of penalties on various newspapers. At the outbreak of the Second World War, the Defence of India Act was passed, allowing censoring of reports of war-related topics. All reports about the Quit India movement came under its purview. In August 1942, about 90 newspapers were suppressed. The last line is related to Quit India movement. Next, the first question, if you see, the question is asking about explain the meaning of censor. So generally we can write censor is nothing but a restriction on the right to freedom of expression. Whenever you are restricting the content that is being printed in the newspapers, we normally call it as censorship. Okay. So the meaning we can write easily, explain the meaning of the censor. That too from the government actually. Censorship is actually coming from the government. At that time we have the government from which are administrated by the British. No? Then the second one, why did the colonial administration keep an eye on books and newspapers? So the question is asking about why did the colonial administration keep an eye on the books and the newspapers? The question is that, the answer is that if you see, the government or the colonial government keep an eye on the books and newspapers because these newspapers are becoming assertively nationalist. Whenever the content related to the national movement is being printed in the newspapers, when the people read this, the people got motivated, the people got encouraged to participate in the national movement. And the government or the colonial government do not want to print any content of this kind. So that's the reason the colonial government or the administration kept an eye on the books and the newspapers. Yes. Next, the last question, why did Gandhiji start a nationwide satyagraha against the Rowlatt Act? Explain any two reasons. If you see this question, for this question there is no answer in the source or the paragraph that was provided here. If you see, this question was actually coming from history chapter number 2, that is nationalism in India, but the source was actually given from chapter number 5. So you can see how beautifully the topics has been linked by the board. The question they are asking, why did Gandhiji start a nationwide satyagraha against the Rowlatt Act? So we need to write what was the problem with the Rowlatt Act. So they can detain a person, without any trial for 2 years. So that point we can explain any two reasons. So we have to write the reasons for the for the starting of nationwide satyagraha against the Rowlatt Act. So in the year 1919 it was passed by the Central Legislative Assembly. So that points we need to write for 4.3. So chapter number 2 and chapter number 5 are interlinked here. Okay. Next, we are going with 35. An experiment in Brazil. So we have a source, an experiment in Brazil. This is actually the source coming from DP, Democratic Politics, chapter number 2, Federalism. So from Federalism, this source is given. It is given in the plus box. So even though the information given in the plus box, we need to be ready. We have to answer the questions. So from the Federalism, the source has been given, and if you see the questions that are following here, 35.1, explain the meaning of participatory democracy. So what do you mean by participatory democracy? You can see in the third or fourth line, participatory democracy, you can see extraordinary experiment in combining decentralization with participative democracy. So they combined the topics decentralization and the participative democracy. The city has set up a parallel organization operating alongside the municipal council, establishing local, you can see local inhabitants to take real decisions for their city. So whenever the local inhabitants are making the part and parcel of the decision making, normally we call it as participatory democracy. We know what do you mean by decentralization. Decentralization is nothing but When the powers are taken away from the central and the state governments and giving these powers to the local governments is normally the concept of the decentralization. And here in this city, along with the decentralization, participative democracy is also implemented. So that participative democracy is nothing but enabling the local inhabitants to take the decisions for their own region or for their own city. So this is participatory democracy. Next one. In the context of separation of powers, the given example defines which type of the government. So in the paragraph that is mentioned here, which type of the government is actually mentioned. So it is nothing but, you can write, it is nothing but the local government. So decentralization process, the local government. Next, describe the structure of the system in India which is almost similar to the above example of the Brazil. So we need to write about the decentralization that was happened in India or the local governments in India. So they are asking the structure of the system in India which is almost similar to the above example of the Brazil. So for this question 35.3 we need to write the local governments in India. For example, if you see the local governments in India, these local governments in India are being implemented at two levels, or we can say in the two types. One we have the Panchayati Raj and the other we have Nagarpalika. Panchayati Raj is being implemented in the rural areas and the Nagarpalika is being implemented in the towns and cities. And as per the Panchayati Raj, we have the three levels of the government. At the village level, then we have Mandal and then we have Jilla. So like this, we need to write about the structure of the system, the local government system in India for the question 35.3. Okay. So that's about question number 35. So the full paragraph is talking about the participatory democracy and the decentralization. Next one, question number 36. So this 36 is from the money and credit. Read the given source and answer the questions that follow, and the topic is given loan from the cooperatives. Besides banks, the other major source of cheap credit in rural areas are the cooperative societies. So besides the banks, the other major sources are cooperative societies or the cooperatives simply. Members of the cooperative pool their resources for cooperation in certain areas. So the members of the cooperatives, they normally pool their resources, they add their resources for the cooperation in the certain areas. There are several types of the cooperatives possible, such as farmer cooperatives. So we can have the cooperatives for the farmers, then we have for the weavers, then industrial workers, etc. An example is given, Krishak cooperative. So in the same paragraph, Krishak cooperative is given. Krishak cooperative functions in a village not very far from Sonpur. It has 2,300 farmers as members. It accepts the deposits from its members. So Krishak cooperatives accepts the deposits from its members. So in the third line, if you see, they normally pool their resources in order to do some work. So now here Krishak cooperative, it is accepting the deposits from its members. With these deposits as collateral, the cooperative has obtained a large loan from the bank. So by making this deposits as the collateral, yes, this deposits from its members was being used as the collateral, and against to this collateral it obtained a large loan from the bank. These funds are used to provide loans to the members. Once these loans are repaid, another round of lending can take place. So with the help of the loan that is available from the bank, it is going to provide the loans to its members, and once the first round of the loans are being repaid, the second round will be given. Krishak cooperative provides loans for the purchase of the agricultural implements, loans for cultivation and agricultural trade, then fishery loans, loans for the construction of houses, and for a variety of the other experiences. So just what do you mean by cooperatives and how the cooperatives normally get the money, that is being explained in the first 3 to 4 lines. Then an example about the Krishak cooperatives was given and how it is functioning. Next, first question if you see 36.1, cooperative societies come under which source of the credit? So the question is whether it is formal or informal. So the cooperatives normally comes under the formal source of the credit. They comes under the formal source of the credit. Then mention any two sources of capital of cooperative societies. So by reading the source, we can easily say the two sources are nothing but the loan from the banks and the deposits from the members. So deposits from the members and the loan from the banks that is availed are the two sources of the capital for the cooperative societies. So for the two sources, half and half mark is awarded, 1 mark. Then the last one, explain the role of the cooperative societies in increasing the income of the farmers. So how cooperatives are actually helping the farmers in order to increase their income. So normally if you see, the basic problem faced by the farmers is that lack of the collateral. They do not have the collateral to avail the loan facilities from the bank. So now with the help of the cooperatives, whenever they deposit the money with the cooperatives, whenever they pool their resources, based on these deposits, the cooperatives are using these deposits as the collateral and they are getting the loan from the bank. So the farmers are bypassing the need of the collateral with the help of the cooperatives. So that's the point we need to write out for the question number 36.3. So even without the collateral, they were able to avail the loan facilities, and whenever the credit is available to the cooperatives or the farmers, yes, they can use the credit facilities or the credit for the development of the agriculture or the activity that they are actually doing. So that's how we can write the answer for 36.3. Then we are moving on to the last one, map pointing. Two places A and B have been marked on the given political outline map of India. Identify them with the help of the following information and write their correct names on the lines drawn near to them. The first one, the place where the session of Indian National Congress was held in 1920. The place where Gandhiji started Dandi March. So if you see these two locations, we can blindly say 1920 we had the INC sessions happened in two locations, Kolkata and Nagpur. Then the place where Gandhiji started the Dandi March, it is normally, we can easily think of that Sabarmati. So Sabarmati is the place where he started the Dandi March. Now let's see what the locations given in the map. If you see the locations given in the map, they are actually, this one is Nagpur, the last one, this one is given as Nagpur. So 1920 December session, it is Nagpur. Then the place where Gandhiji started Dandi March. So for this particular question, they can write Sabarmati, and if not Sabarmati, they can write Ahmedabad also, because Ahmedabad is the place or the area that is mentioned in the curriculum. So in the curriculum we are having actually 8 points from this particular chapter, 8 points from nationalism in India. So out of that we are having Ahmedabad, Kheda, then we are having Champaran, Dandi, like this the places are coming. So now the place where Gandhiji started Dandi March, so we can write either Sabarmati or Ahmedabad. There is no big question. Actually, in fact, if you talk, Sabarmati is there in Ahmedabad. So that's the reason why. For the question number A, that is 37A, capital A, that is Nagpur. Then B, we are having Ahmedabad. Ahmedabad or Sabarmati. Next one, 37B. So let's see the question number 37B. Here we have the internal choice where some 4 places are given for the locating and labeling, and out of the 4 you need to write, or you need to locate and label any 3. The first one, if you see, leading state in the production of the jute. So you can see here, leading state in the production of the jute, it is actually West Bengal. So West Bengal, the first one. Then the next one, atomic power plant located in Gujarat, Kakrapara. So we can write Kakrapara. Kakrapara. Then we have iron and steel plant located in Jharkhand. So here we have 2 locations, either Bokaro or Jamshedpur. Bokaro or Jamshedpur. So if you look at any one, that's fine. Bokaro or Jamshedpur. Then we have Sri Guru Ramdas Ji International Airport, which is located in Amritsar. Amritsar. So West Bengal, Kakrapara, Bokaro or Jamshedpur, and then Amritsar. So for this we have Nagpur, the map, and the next one here we can write Sabarmati or Ahmedabad. So like this we have the map pointings. Whether you look at Sabarmati or Ahmedabad, both are fine, no problem. So like this we have the map pointing. So that's all, my dear children. So we have seen the key and the important analysis with respect to this year's CBSE Social Science Board exam. Chapter wise also we have the weightage. So most of you yes, so that's the key and the analysis of the question paper that appeared in the CBSE Social Science examination. So if you have any doubts, you can type in the comments so that we can discuss. Fine, I hope each and everybody will get the best marks based on the writings that you have done. Let's hope for the best. All the very best to your next exam. Thank you. Sir.